Welcome back to Midday. Breast cancer is the second most common cancer and the second most deadly form of cancer for women in the United States. That's according to the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, a national organization that specializes in disease and prevention. It is now recommending women start screening for breast cancer every other year starting at age 40. Before, the task force advised women in their 40s to make that decision on their own, but now it's recommending starting at 40 because it could result in 19% more lives being saved. So joining us live now is Roswell Park Chair of Diagnostic Radiology, Dr. Ermelinda Bonaccio. Thank you for being here. So we want to talk about this because I thought that it was already 40 because my gynecologist had me go before 40 to get a baseline. But then this week I found out it was actually 50, but I feel like a lot of my friends in their 40s were already going. So why the change?
Okay, so actually Roswell Park and the National Comprehensive Cancer Network, which we are members of, have been recommending annual screening mammography beginning at age 40.
Okay.
So that is why
so
you have that impression.
Right,
no,
right.
exactly. And we simply recommend that because when you look at the data, that saves the most lives.
Yeah.
But the U.S. Preventative Task Force had in 2009 raised the age to 50, and it was actually quite controversial.
It would seem like, especially now that we know more about breast cancer.
Exactly, and it created a lot of confusion. But they looked at the data and saw that actually the incidence of breast cancer in women in their 40s is increasing, as well as the persistent disparity in mortality for Black women, and they finally made this decision to lower the age to 40.
Because then you also have to worry about insurance and whether it'll cover it.
Yeah.
And that's an issue too. Like access is a huge issue for women.
Exactly. Now, there was legislation that Congress kept passing to prevent this from impacting the ability to get reimbursed and have this covered.
Yeah.
But that was always a concern. Now, in New York State, where mammography, screening mammography, that is considered that you can't even have a copay for that. So there should be no cost for women who have insurance.
And what if you have dense breast tissue? Because that's what I have, and I don't just have the mammogram. I have to go and get an extra screening, and thankfully insurance covers that too. But that's because my doctor writes me a script to go get that.
Actually, in New York State, it's mandated that insurance covers both the screening mammogram and the screening ultrasound. And yes, women with dense breast tissue, which the U.S. Preventative Task Service talked about this as well in their draft, is important because it not only increases your risk of breast cancer, it also makes the mammogram less sensitive.
Right.
So in their draft, they called for further research specifically on dense breast tissue as well. But currently, if you're at average risk and you have dense breast tissue, then you should consider screening ultrasound.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Anything else that you think women should know about what came out this, I mean, besides go get your mammogram and get one scheduled?
One other thing is very important. They recommend starting at 40, but they're still recommending every other year.
Okay.
And we strongly recommend, as well as the American College of Radiology and other organizations, that women should have their mammogram every year.
Yeah.
As I said before, it saves the most life, but particularly in younger women who are more likely to get aggressive breast cancer. So premenopausal women in their 40s, it makes no sense to wait that extra year and give the cancer 2 years to grow. So we continue to recommend annual screening mammography.
Excellent. All right, doctor. Thank you for joining us here.
It's my pleasure.
Midday.